Welcome to the NCAA Los Angeles Regionals for softball. We are now joined by Liberty University head coach Dot Richardson, thank you, and athlete Megan Fortner. We will begin with an opening statement from the coach, move to questions in the room, and then to questions on Zoom. If you could please state your name and publication before you ask your question, that would be greatly appreciated. And we'll start with our opening statement from coach.
Well, first want to congratulate San Diego State. They did a great job. They're hitting the ball really well. All the runs, I believe, were scored with 2 outs, so that's clutch hitting. Unfortunately, it didn't happen on our side, but Megan here had a great defensive job. I think Emily Estroff really came in well pitching-wise, but when you make 4 errors and you don't score any runs, I've yet to figure out a way to win without scoring, unless a forfeit, and that didn't happen today.
Andy Cord from Liberty Champion. Megan, I just kind of wanted to ask you, 6 strikeouts against their starting pitcher. What was she throwing? What made it hard for you guys to be able to get into a rhythm against her?
She was throwing a drop ball and it was moving pretty good, but I think as a whole, our hitters were just thinking too much. Like, we were in our own heads. We were beating ourselves. She's a great pitcher, but I think we have to adjust quicker than that.
And coach, in the infield, you know, your team making some uncharacteristic mistakes. What do you think was going on where their heads were at? What do you think was going on there?
Well, it's hard to say. We had a rough conference tournament, and I think it's because we're just making it bigger than what it really is, trying to make things happen. When you start pressing, it doesn't usually play well. So when you saw San Diego State break out with a run, you just start swinging a lot more freely. And I'm just waiting, and hopefully it's tomorrow, where we have some hitters that just start putting some back-to-back hits together, inspiring the team. And when that happens, we'll start swinging really well. When you look at the talent that we have, this is one of the strongest teams I've ever had. And right now everyone's trying to put it over the fence. And the reality is just hit the ball hard and good things will happen. And that's what they did to our defense. And we had some great plays, though, when you saw some of the bad bounces that happened. Savannah Woodard at second really responded well. And look at this one right here, Megan. A shot to her, her backhand, and then also that bad bounce that came up, and she handled it well. But in this game, and especially at this level, you just got to be ready for anything and play loose and just have that passion for the game and not press.
And Megan, you guys have proven that you guys can compete with UCLA. You're going to play them again tomorrow. What do you think has to change about maybe your compete level? You guys are going to, face some really great pitching. What do you think that needs to change with you guys?
I think that this team, we're all competitors. I don't think it's a level of competing. I don't think we need to up how we compete against another team. I think we're competing too much within ourselves. We're a super talented group of girls. I think we match up good with any team. I think we just have to get out of our own way, and we're on a roll.
And coach, what were you telling your girls after the game? What was your message to them to kind of, just your overall thoughts that you were telling them in the outfield?
Well, the overall thoughts, it's always tough to talk to a team after a loss, but I tell you, I had to give Emily Estroff a lot of props, as well as Megan did really well. KK Madre, she did really well. And it was one of those things where, I thought Sierra, really hit the ball well, hit the ball really hard. Their center fielder made an outstanding catch, and Megan was ready to score on that, by the way. We had some good things, but the problem is you have to put them together. So I just told him the beauty about this sport, there's another game. So hopefully we have some sweet softball dreams tonight. We wake up in the morning and there's nothing like playing UCLA at UCLA, and we're going to have that opportunity to do it again. And so hopefully we show up and give a great game.
Joe Carmody, Liberty University. Megan, just talk about your first NCAA tournament game experience.
It's something I've been looking forward to. I was nervous, but once I got the first at-bat out of the way, it was just like any other game. And it's nice looking around the field knowing that every girl out there had my back, and I had theirs. So it made it a lot easier going to battle with this team.
And just talk about some of those defensive plays you were able to make, robbing some hits and possibly runs.
Yeah, like Coach always says, someone has to step up and stop the bleeding. And it's just like making the last play to get out of the inning. Our pitchers work really, really hard in the circle and they do their job. So just being able to back them up, I always have their back because I know how hard they're working in the circle.
Thanks, Megan.
I'd just like to add, this is why I put Megan up for a Golden Glove Award. This kid is unbelievable defensive. She just put on a show today as well. So I hope those that are choosing, they look and see what she's able to do. I think there's only been one error she's made in I don't know how many attempts. So well done, Megan. Good job.
Do we have any questions on Zoom?
Yeah, I've got a couple. Coach Justin McCloud, American Softball here. We've talked, you and I have talked, you've talked in other avenues just about the schedule you guys play in the early season and how tough it is. And, for a while your win-loss record wasn't great, but you guys went through those experiences. Obviously, you couldn't know you were going to be almost recreating one of those games in the regionals, but is this time of year, the postseason, the reason you play that early season schedule so tough?
Absolutely. And in fact, I try to look and see who we may be playing in regionals. We were actually very shocked, if you would, to be sent all the way across the country, which was kind of funny because we were, thinking maybe we'd be at Georgia or we'd be at Clemson or we'd be at Alabama or we'd be at, it was another Tennessee. And every one of those teams I've mentioned, we played, right, with the exception of Georgia. So when we were selected to be here at UCLA, I just smiled because it was awesome that we were here at the beginning of the year and went down to Mexico as well and played some really good teams. So one of those things is the team's got to be hot. We've got to be there, but playing UCLA previously is obviously going to help us seeing them for a second time in this regionals.
And then Megan, Coach mentioned kind of a rough time in the conference tournament, and then you don't know if you're going to hear your name called on Sunday. You do hear it called. You find out you're going to UCLA. You got to prepare for the regionals. Can you just walk me through kind of the roller coaster of, I guess, emotions that you guys have probably gone through over the last 7-8 days?
Yeah, it was a lot, but I think that we were all pretty confident. We were going to get sent somewhere. Once we found out it was UCLA, we were just ready to compete. We actually didn't care where we went at all, as long as we were playing. So we started watching film right away and practiced the next day. And we were just getting quality work in. We obviously had to travel and get down here, but once we got here, we kept working, and we were just ready to come out and compete.
And then last one for me, Coach. I want to ask you about the pitching. You start at Page, you go to Carly midway through. Can you just walk me through what your philosophy was when you decided who was going to start, what your plan was, and how it sets you up for tomorrow and the rest of the weekend?
Well, Paige Bachman, Baki, we knew drop balls they'd have a little trouble with, and they did, with the exception of number 12. She hit the ball pretty hard. And she held him down for 3 innings. She did really good. Then with 2 outs, she ended up, there was a hit and then she walked. Walks are going to hurt you at this level, right? And the next kid gets up and she hit the home run. I think Baki just held the drop a little bit too high. But I was pleased with that. And Carly, they hit Carly pretty hard. I think they see Carly's style of pitching quite a bit, so she started to make some adjustments, did well, but we made some good defensive plays behind her. Emily Estroff, I wanted to see how she'd respond. This is her first time in a regional, and I thought she was very composed, really good movement on the ball, really nice with her changeup as well. So we're going to think about what direction we're going to go tomorrow with UCLA. They saw Baki previously. She did a really, really well. I think the score was 3-4, Joe, right? Something like that. 3-2. So it's 2-3. So she did a really good job. So all of them are ready to go, but really we have to in this game say what's the best matchup. Where do we need to be? UCLA against Grand Canyon really had a lot of hits. They just didn't manage to get enough runs. I believe. Grand Canyon ended up having 3 hits, but they made it work. The home run helped them a lot. So, good job to them, and they deserve to be where they're at right now. And I know UCLA is going to be, the Bruins are going to be clawing their way. So, we'll have them tomorrow.
I got a question. Eric Lopez in the Circle podcast Jesper. Coach, you played UCLA earlier this year. Does that help you in preparation for tomorrow? How much do you use from that meeting versus what the teams look like now?
Yeah, it helps us a lot having seen him. I just seen him earlier helps because the players now have sensed it. You know, they've been on the same field with them. UCLA, as you know, has a tradition of excellence, and you know, it's been fun to be able to use UCLA as a bar for me as an alum from here. And every time we play them, it's, you know, I really enjoy it because it's a challenge, and we have, you know, risen our game to that challenge. And I hope tomorrow, with what we've been in, you know, the funk, if you would, you know, just offensively, I hope that the bats, you know, wake up so you guys can see a really good game. I don't know, I think it's going to be awesome. I know that they've got a lot to do to prove that they're back against the wall, and so do we. If you look at the past, at the regionals in Tennessee, I'm kind of getting a little deja vu, and I hope in a way it is. You know, we were put into the losers bracket to face Tennessee, and we were able to beat them, you know, when they were hosting at Tennessee, and come back in JMU. We had them, but they came back and they did really well as a Cinderella team that year. But we've got to prove it tomorrow, and you know, UCLA is a great team.
And then my last question for you, Coach. What was it like preparing this week, flying out west, which is, you mentioned, weren't expecting necessarily, expecting to stay the coast after a tough, long weekend delaying, and be back here as the head coach here at your alma mater, this university, there, getting your team ready?
Well, anytime I can be at UCLA, it's awesome. But I can tell you, like even now, you know, what is it, 2 o'clock in the morning our time? It's really tough. You know, when you look at Fullerton, Fullerton from the West Coast going to the East, and here we're crossing them probably halfway in the middle of the country, you know. But it is what it is. But I know the kids, I'm sure, are tired a little bit with the time change. But you know, we're here to play ball, and tomorrow's going to be another day, and they'll be able to sleep in a little bit, and that'll be, you know, good. But it would have been nice to play the first game, that's for sure.
All right, thank you so much, Coach. Thank you so much.
Eric, Justin, good to see you guys.
Good to see you, Coach, always.
God bless you. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
All right, get some good rest. Sleep well.